hits a synth, the goes wild, and camera pans to a group of white women in short skirts dancing to Jai Balaya. But where did the idea come from? And why do we keep seeing it? The concept of cheerleading originated from the American sports culture in 1898. It began as an all-male activity in Ivy League colleges. In fact, US presidents like George Bush, Franklin Roosevelt, Eisenhower were cheerleaders at their time. For decades, cheerleading has been a male-driven activity. During the World War II, when men took off to war, women started stepping in and taking over these roles at universities. And by the 1970s, cheerleading has become a female-centric activity that we recognize today. Lalit Modi, who introduced foreign cheerleaders to IPL in 2008, and Vice President of IPL Rajiv Shukla, who once said, "Without cheerleaders, I don't think IPL would look that nice," both have argued that the format of cheerleading is a harmless entertainment which appeals the brand value of IPL. Fair enough. But why is it missing from WPL? A league that grew up its TV ratings by 150% and digital viewership by 70% according to BCCI. I think this disappearance isn't coincidental. It's telling. It's either telling that nothing celebrates male success than women spinning in circles for it, or it's telling that even when women cricketers are given equal pay, thanks to BCCI's pay equity policy in 2022, they are still playing on a different stage. This persistent bias not just shapes how we view women, but also the very stage they are allowed to play. Now this raises a deeper question. Is women's sports still considered less marketable, less entertaining, without performative femininity on display? This format isn't limited to cricket alone. In Indian pop culture, the imported gaze has long comforted the Indian society. Reality shows like Bigg Boss routinely feature foreign women, rarely as participants with central narratives, but often as visual props to add glamour to the host's grand entry. And why foreign? Their foreignness serves a purpose. It softens the guilt. They are not ours, so objectifying them on a placard like the way a fan did in 2023 Lucknow versus Gujarat IPL match, where he held up a placard saying "Match nahi Russian dekhne aaya hu," goes without any cultural baggage or moral consequence. Even off the field, the spectacle continues. In 2011, a South African cheerleader, Gabriella, was sacked by Mumbai Indians for blogging about the objectification and inappropriate behavior that cheerleaders go through at after parties, streets, describing the complete experience as complete voyeurism. This double standard repeats itself again and again. Glamour is permitted and even encouraged, but only when it exists in the service of male success. But when Indian women claim their own bodies or claim their own visibility, the same glamour becomes threatening. It invites shame, scrutiny, and moral policing. The issue isn't short skirts or screen time. It's that femininity still continues to be framed as a non-verbal visual performance, a soft, smiling background to a masculine action. Whether it's imported cheerleaders or curated reality glamour, we have grown more comfortable with the aesthetic of the woman than her autonomy. So the question isn't whether cheerleaders belong in cricket or not. It's whether Indian society can ever truly be comfortable with women's body without feeling the need to cover her in shame or broadcast her in slow motion. With that thought in thinking, please do like, share and subscribe to Winnie for more thought-provoking video essays like this. Bye-bye.